Today, I'm taking a look at the McFarlane Toys Digital Silver Age Joker with enough head swaps to put a smile on everyone's face. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. Starting with the packaging, and it's been a while since we've looked at one of these fidgetal boxes, though technically it just says McFarlane Toys Digital. We do get a Batman logo along with the Joker's name, names and logos on the spine. This Joker is from the Silver Age, and if you're looking for him in stores, here's the UPC. On the back we get a graphic of the Joker. Unlike previous waves, which had full-size artwork, this one's just a classic picture over a generic background. For packaging, I'm giving Silver Age Joker 4 points. Moving on to presentation, and Joker stands at 7 inches, or 18 centimeters, and is mostly reuse of Infinite Frontier Joker. Obviously the head's new, which we'll talk about in a minute, the hands are new, and the torso is new, mostly. Looking at them up close, and there's enough shared details where you can see how they just retooled this one to make this one. Flipping around back, and it's particularly obvious, but honestly I think that the reuse makes a lot of sense here, and all comes together for a good, clean, simple, comic book style Joker. The main difference is the shirt, tie, and vest, and of course his flower. I do like that they went in and painted the buttons, and the yellow of the vest stands out very nicely. I do wish the suit was a richer, more purpley purple, but this does a pretty good job of matching that classic comic style, which, let's be honest, was probably more lavender than purple. One missing detail, however, are the pinstriping on the pants. That seems to be a detail that most Joker figures omit. The Three Jokers clown version got it. Still, this doesn't look bad, and I will say the knees match the rest of the leg a lot better than other Joker figures. One missed opportunity with paint, however, are the playing cards. Those are unfortunately blank on both sides. I gotta admit, the Logan I just looked at from the Sabretooth 2-pack really spoiled me, but from a sculpting perspective, I do like it. It actually reminds me a lot of this Joker that Hasbro made back in 1999. But wouldn't you know it, even Hasbro painted the cards. And that was 25 years ago. For me, the real showstopper is the head. This is what I've been wanting for a long time. The fact that it's not quite as long and stretched out as the box art does not bother me in the slightest. The skin tone is just right, and there's a bit of shading in there. The eyes and mouth have been painted very nicely. The hair is just right. To be honest, the only criticism I have is I feel like maybe the eyebrows are a bit too high. Even so, this is really solid, and I'm really excited for the head swaps. Given that there are other hand options, I'm not going to dock the cards for being unpainted in presentation. In fact, for presentation, I'm giving Fidgetal Joker 4 points. Moving on to Posability, and we did recently see this body with the Punchline 2-pack, but it's always good to remind ourselves what it can do. Because of the hair, he can only look up this high. Here he is looking straight, and thanks to the Jay Leno chin, he can only look down this far. More than serviceable amount of tilt though, and of course all the way around. Moving on down, and his arm raise is just awesome. There's no rotator cuff to guide it, but you do still get some forward and back. Naturally, you also have bicep swivel, double jointed elbows with a perfect bend, and wrist balls that can swivel and hinge either up and down, or get a little bit of side to side. Shifting to the torso, and that articulation is internal with a soft rubber overlay. Between that and the tails of the jacket, he can only arch back this far. As a reminder, this is standing straight, but he can hunch forward this far. Of course, Joker does get side to side, and that's actually really good. And twist. Below the bright yellow vest, and Joker has the typical McFarlane hips. He can kick this high, which is really good, and split this wide. Not as much twist in the hip as I'd like to see, but it's there. And then moving down, he's got double jointed knees, toe-ticulated spats, and ankle balls that can swivel, hinge but only a little bit, and pivot but again only a little bit. With only minor limitations in the neck, torso, and ankles, for Posability, I'm giving this Joker 4 points. Moving on to Playability, and it's time to see just what this Joker is holding. I've already discussed his card hand. He's also got a gestury right hand. Kinda looks like he's doing a Spider-Man impression. Go Web! There's yet another right hand holding his famous Joker fish. They're finny and funny and oh so delish. This of course is taken from the iconic Laughing Fish story where Joker wants to create Joker fish and copyright them. He also has yet another right hand for holding an accessory. That accessory being his cane. The ever-vain Joker of course has his own head on the handle, complete with its own purple tie. Whether action figures or live-action adaptations, so few versions of Joker come with the cane, so it's really nice to see. With all that being said, the only left hand he has is the one he came preloaded with, and that's just the Infinite Frontier hand without the eyeball. Of course, Joker does have a trading card and a figure stand. That one has the more colorful McFarlane Toys Digital logo stamped on it, and of course there's a bio that you can read. The one new thing that's pretty cool is it tells tells you where his first appearance was. The more info, the better, I say. That said, he does come with another card. This one comes with a redemption code for a digital version of this figure. Essentially, it's a 3D digital model of this exact figure that you can display in a digital showroom or, from my understanding, export to sculpting programs like ZBrush. I know it's the main selling point of this sub-series, but it's not something I'm personally into, as I prefer toys I can physically play with. But if it's something that you're into, more power to you. As long as you're 18 and up, I guess. What exactly is Joker doing in that showroom? Of course, playability is more than just fish and non-fungible tokens. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. Starting with sidekicks, and here's Essentials and DC Multiverse versions of Harley Quinn. We really do need some updated versions of her, and while I am going to keep this section pretty classic style today, here we have Punchline. Otherwise, and here we have fellow Kane enthusiast the Riddler, classic and Arkham City versions of the Penguin, as well as standard and Platinum Edition versions of Nightfall Catwoman, with superpowers and animated series inspired versions of Mr. Freeze. Seeing these classics all lined up is great. Hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for traditional comic style versions of these guys. As for the Bat family, and here's Dick Grayson and Tim Drake versions of Robin, along with 3 Jokers and Batman Family 5-pack versions of Batgirl. Of course, you could always do what I did and combine the two into this pretty sweet custom. Even though he isn't exactly classic, here we have New 52 and 3 Jokers versions of the Red Hood, with Nightfall and Better Than Batman versions of Nightwing. That said, and for the most important matchup, and here's 3 Jokers and Rebirth versions of Batman, Blue and Gray and Black and Gray versions of Hush, Blue and Gray and Black and Gray versions of Nightfall, and just because it's good and classic, Batman from Year 2. For a relative scale comparison, here's Joker with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. And now it's time for the main event, and the reason a lot of you are here, head swaps. First up, and here's Arkham Asylum, right out of the gate, and I like this a lot. It's just a good classic Joker head, and feels pretty proportionate on this body. Other way around, and this is pretty good too. I think the shaded face of this version is better than that stark white of the other one, though it could be argued it might feel a bit small. Next up is Rebirth, which shares a lot of the same parts as Arkham Asylum. Just like with Arkham, this head looks pretty good on this body. I really love how vibrant all the colors are, though again it could be argued it's a bit disproportionate. That said, this doesn't look half bad. I've said it before that there's a really good sculpt hidden behind that paint job, and if you want to put in the work, I think this would be a pretty rewarding combination. For one of my favorites, and here we have Mortal Kombat 11. Unfortunately, as much as I like this head and this body, the combination does not work. The head is just too small and the neck is just too thick. As for the other way around, I'm not sure how I feel about this one either. As much as I love this head sculpt, I wonder if it isn't just too realistic for this more exaggerated body. Let me know what you think. Next up is the 3 Jokers Clown. In general, this looks pretty good. A lot of it depends on how you feel about the colors of the suit, but hey, at least now he has pinstriping. Other way around, and if you prefer the clown head, this is the combination for you. The colors all go well together, and unlike the clown, has a nice even suit color and is completed with the vest. Unfortunately, I still can't find my comedian Joker, but here we have the criminal. If you like the clown combination, this does give you a second expression, making the 3 Jokers the only set that gives you real actual options. Other way around, and we'll be seeing this body a lot in the next few comparisons, but I have to admit it's my least favorite version. It's good for the golden age, but beyond that, I don't really like these colors. That said, if you prefer your Joker a bit more faceless, here is Death of the Family. This combination was a special request. If you're out there watching, I hope this helps, though I have a sneaking suspicion you are probably more curious about this head on this body, and I gotta say, this would definitely be my ideal Joker purple. With that being the case, may I humbly suggest my Kit Bash. It combines the head, torso, and flower of the clown with the suit from Death of the Family. And you know what? The Silver Age head on that body looks great. I like the narrow shoulders and the richer purple. All that's missing is the vest. Here we have the incomparable Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight. As usual, the Heath head does not work on this comic style body, though I will say, thanks to the wider shoulders, it does look better than usual. And just like with Mortal Kombat 11, this combination doesn't work either. The head's too small and the neck is too big. Then again, if you prefer your Joker a bit more spooky, here's the vampire version. I really like the purple of this version, though the shirt and vest are a bit washed out and bloody, and on that note you have the bloody hands to deal with, but I gotta admit I always like the vampire head on these Infinite Frontier base bodies. It just looks more skeletal and ghoulish, and I'd be very curious to see this head on the black suited Platinum Edition. Next up is the Infinite Frontier figure upon which this one is based, with this being the same same basic body, the heads are a perfect fit. The skin tones also match up very nicely. Really, this one boils down to personal preference, or the way around, and I think you can see what I was talking about with the shade of purple. Not sure how I feel about the classic head on the more disheveled body. Still, it's something different. Also using that Infinite Frontier body is this Joker from the Punchline 2-pack. I pretty much have the same comments as before, though I will say this time it's more traditional Joker colors, and in that regard I do like this a bit better than Infinite Frontier. This, however, I really like. It's a bit more modern and sinister, but still has that classic Joker feel. And now, making his 5 POA debut, Joker from the White Knight. This was a special request and long overdue. Getting it in hand, this head's pretty cool. You can expect a full head swap video with this guy coming very soon. Not really sure how well this combination works, but again, now that I have him, we'll see what other options there are. Lastly, and here's Joker from the Deadly Duo. Between the colors and the dry brushing, this is probably my favorite version of this suit, though even then the colors are pretty subdued. It is, however, held back by the mismatched knees. Other way around, and I like the sculpt of the face. I'm just not really a fan of the colors or the hair, but give it a repaint and I think this would look okay. Which combination was your favorite? Sound off in the comments below. While I do wish the cards were painted, it's still a good accessory, and to be honest, I'm pretty happy with Joker's piece count in general. The digital gimmick doesn't interest me, but if you like it, more power to you. And that's to say nothing about the head swap potential. For playability, I'm giving this Joker 5 points. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't see why this needed to be a $25 digital release. If it's the only way we could have gotten this new tooling, I guess an extra $2 isn't the end of the world, and the digital component does add some value, but I don't think that me getting into it is in the cards. Even so, for price, I'm giving Silver Age Joker 5 points, averaging out to a very good total of 4.4 out of 5. For more Joker videos, check out one of these, and until next time, play nice and have fun.